So I'm the director of MOD and I've been here since 2016. I tend to describe myself as a futurist and engineer.
UniSA created MOD with a vision of being Australia's leading future-focused museum and really a site for innovation. So everything we're doing, we're really trying to aspire to that.
The key vision from UniSA for investing in somewhere like MOD was really thinking about the cohort of young people that might be coming through the university, how to attract them, but also how to give them skills and experiences that might benefit their future careers. So really part of our agenda is to inspire young people about what the future looks like so they can start to think about the sorts of skill sets they might need to thrive. And certainly we have a gap in thinking about some of those digital technology, science, engineering, maths skill sets, so that's a key focus. So when I think about whether are we science-led, are we art-led, I think actually probably we're led by the research, and some of that's the research that we put into developing and delivering the exhibitions, but a lot of that is working with researchers from the University of South Australia and from elsewhere to develop their ideas and their cutting-edge ideas into something that the public can consume. And we then work with local creative technology companies to execute the vision from the team in terms of how do we tell this research story. And then the second way is to work with artists to draw in really interesting ideas that might relate to themes of research. And sometimes we have artists that collaborate quite closely with researchers, and sometimes it's about finding an artist who has an existing practice and discipline in an area that really makes sense for the story we're trying to tell.
So when we're working with artists and researchers on these exhibits, the technology isn't the end goal, but it helps us to get there. Really looking at that, those key messages and aesthetics that we're trying to produce, and we use all the technology available to us to make that happen.
Really great example of our researcher-led initiatives was from our first exhibition, which was called Modify, where we worked with Professor Lorimer Mosley and Associate Professor Tasha Stanton, and their research is on chronic pain and how we understand pain, but also how the physical experience of pain is led by how our brain is trained to pick up the perception of pain. And so we set up an experiment essentially in our galleries where we would electrocute people until it hurt. I thought that had been done before, but it hadn't. And then ask them questions to see if the environment around them or the way that they were thinking might reduce or increase the experience of pain. So it was a really kind of risky move, but absolutely tied to the research that they were developing. If we think about something else that's researcher-led, we had an exhibition called Symbiosville, which was in our Universal Gallery. It's now a browser-based game as well. And for that, my team read through at least 20 papers on gut microbiome, thinking about how we eat and what we do and how that affects our inner gut health, and produced a game using those key levers. So something that's really fun to play, but absolutely based on a wide body of evidence. In terms of artist-led initiatives, a good example is in invisibility at the moment. We have a work called Underground, which is really exploring deep geological time. And we were able to connect one of our researchers from UniSA's STEM in geology with two artists from Creative who both have different sculptural and digital practices, and to let them work together to develop something that's really interesting. So Agnieszka Woznia's animations in that gallery are all inspired by real-life slices of rock and how a geologist might look at those samples. Another example was working with New York artist Annie Liu, who was inspired by work in UniSA STEM around how we get health benefits from nature, and started to create an installation which really started with the provocation: if we move to Mars, how might we get health benefits from nature on Mars, and is it possible to fake it? So some really interesting examples of just how those researchers and artists come together.
So we're really trying to create experiences that are unexpected and audacious, and so the visitors can come in and experience something that they haven't experienced elsewhere. While the technology really helps us to create those experiences, it should also kind of disappear into the background, and it's all about that immersive and interactive world that you're in.
If if we look at what MOD set up to do, we talk about ourselves as Australia's leading future-focused museum, we talk about ourselves provoking new ideas, and we talk about doing that at the intersection of science, art and innovation. And that's more than a statement, that actually helps lead the way that we design things. So the provoking new ideas is very much about bringing together a group of people to really create something that's new, something that's novel, something that's innovative. We want people who don't necessarily have a set idea to work with us, who are willing to have that back and forth and really tussle with the new ideas. And we want things to sit at the heart of science, art and innovation. So it is about bringing those different perspectives in to really admire the work from a range of viewpoints and a range of disciplinary backgrounds. So when we're looking for collaborators, the best projects we've done are with people who are excited about the opportunity to get out of their office or to get out of their studio and to meet new people and to think about things anew, who are willing to kind of spend some workshop time with us to go over that rather than only delivering the knowledge, but actually to deliver the conversations and deliver the curiosity. The reason we like to use technology is because it allows for that interactivity. And when we use the word technology, it can be digital technology, but we're also happy with a lever and a button. And I think there's a range of different things. And I think when we talk about technology, we imagine in a future-focused museum it's always going to be the latest tech, but actually the latest tech doesn't work for 60,000 people coming through necessarily. So there are challenges around that. So I think the first thing we do is we try and get a wide variety of technology in, and that allows for people to interact with it in different ways. And so for our audience, we are particularly focused on a young adult audience. They use technology all the time. But sometimes they might not have thought about how that technology works, and sometimes there might be things that they're not familiar with. One great example in our last exhibition was that we had an old-fashioned dial rotary phone that you could pick up, and when you answered the phone, you'd either be talking to artificial intelligence or you'd be talking to a visitor in another museum. And it was fascinating just to watch people interact with that piece of technology. So I think, avoiding assumptions around what we think about when we think about technology is important. But that interactivity, I think, really draws people in and gives them their own experience. It's not an experience that is curated for them. They have to play a part in doing it, and that participatory nature is one of our design principles and something that we value very highly.
So we have a lot of different modes of designing our exhibitions. So sometimes it might be an existing work that an artist has that we're adapting to fit our space and our technologies, or it might be something we're creating from scratch. We've had the genesis of the idea and we're pulling in the artists and the creative technologists to realise that vision. Or we might be pairing a scientist or researcher and an artist together and seeing what they come up with and then helping them to create that. So those different modes of work have their own challenges in fitting it to the space. We've got touch screens on the wall, projection at the top, and the science on a sphere in the middle.
I mean, our purpose at MOD is really to inspire young people. So if they come and have a great time, that's good, but we want to see that they are inspired and take action. So for instance, we had an exhibition in Modify, the first exhibition. We had an exhibit called Transfigurations, which was a series of 5 silicon babies that had been physically modified to deal with the future. And they were really unsettling and really they really did force people to ask a lot of questions. And we had a Year 11 student contact us after to say, I'm really interested in this. I want to do my research project around thinking about the human form for the future. And we were able to put her in touch with several researchers so that she could actually spend 6 to 12 months working on those ideas, which is fantastic. I think thinking about the type of language we use is very deliberate for us. So we're designing for a 15 to 25-year-old audience. We're assuming they don't have deep content or knowledge or expertise about contemporary art or about, cancer research or any of those things. So we're very deliberate about designing our communications in a plain English style that is going to hit the mark for that cohort. And if we hit the mark for that cohort, we also hit the mark for a range of other cohorts. So English as second language, and obviously we've got a lot of international students at the university usually. So that will more readily meet where they are. It'll meet people with reading and learning disabilities. And so that for us is key. And then we like to play with language as well. So we had an exhibition called Seven Siblings from the Future that was set in Australia in 2050. And when we imagined what that could look like, we imagined that maybe Australia was trilingual. So there was an Aboriginal language and Mandarin and English in the space. And we had all of the exhibit information translated into Mandarin and an audio version for the Aboriginal language, because of course it's an oral language. I think there's a lot of joy to be found in the way that we can respond to that disruption. So one of the things that we did during 2020, when things were really disrupted and we were 6 months closed during 2020, was we did a very rapid response online exhibition called Life Interrupted, which we designed in 8 days. And it was a fantastic way for us to experiment and to look at how we might engage in the online space. And so the last couple of years, this year we had an exhibition called Up Close, which was digital only, and in 2022 we'll have an exhibition called Point of Impact, which is digital only. So playing with what that means in a very crowded digital content environment and finding out how we really make that link with mod to people who might be in remote and regional areas across South Australia, or the university has a lot of online students domestically and internationally. So how we give an experience of seeing something at the edge of science, art and innovation for people online is something I'm really curious to develop.
Some of the real successes and the things that I really love seeing is when we've brought those artists and researchers together and just to see what they come up with, and the kinds of things that results in is something that wouldn't come just from that artist or wouldn't come just from that researcher. You mix those two worlds together and you get these amazing immersive experiences that are something people have never experienced before.
So our in-gallery exhibition for 2022 is called Invisibility, and it's all about noticing the unnoticed and seeing the unseen. And it came about because we were really curious to see what people really wanted to talk about when they thought about the future. And we ran a forum for about 90 stakeholders, visitors, researchers, asking them exactly that question: what do you think? What do you think is important when you think about the future? And also, what keeps you up to 2 a.m. talking? And so Invisibility really grew out of that feedback. People were interested in data privacy. They were interested in the right to hide. They were curious about sensing and the senses that we might have in our environment, worried about climate change, very concerned about social justice and equity. And in some weird, marvellous way, those themes have all sort of come together to help us think about those unseen elements. So this exhibition is artist-led, so we deliberately decided to work with artists working in spaces around those ideas. So we have work from Tactical Tech, who are an artist collective in Germany looking at data privacy. We have artwork from Lucy McRae, who's a well-known artist, for a work called Biometric Mirror, with another work, Mirror Ritual, by Monash Sensi Lab, which is really looking at what information we get from providing our face to a database, and what information do we get back, and is it worth it? So those are really kind of interesting questions. We have a PhD student, Alex de Garis-Boot, who's actually presenting work on augmented reality in the exhibition. And then we also have some work around climate. So we've used the climate stripes effectively to talk about the movement of our temperature increase over the last 150 years. And we've got a work by Yandel Walton in Universal, which looks at the effects of climate and environmental degradation on oceans. We have a work that looks at deep time and geology. And interestingly, we have quite a focus on First Nations perspectives, which are invisible and are gradually, shaking us to sort of see those more clearly. So we have an artwork which has been done with Baden Palethorpe from ANU, Adam Goods, who's well known as an AFL player, and Angie Abdullah, looking at Adam's data set from his playing days and asking who owns that data set and what does it tell us about Adam as an Aboriginal man on the field, and does that present cultural data and cultural insights. And so it's a beautiful work that reflects being back on Andamantia country and what that means. We have a beautiful work by Unbound Collective, who are academics out of Flinders and artists who have interviewed Yangana people about what it's like to feel like being connected to country, and especially looking at that connection with our river. And we have a really great work that showcases Aboriginal women in leadership roles who are leading either disciplines or community, and that's just really inspiring. That hangs in our foyer. So I think those key themes about connection to country, climate and environment, thinking about data privacy and sensing, and thinking about social justice are the key themes of the exhibition. And I'm really excited to be able to share it with people.
So visitors who come to MOD experience the works in different ways and in their own ways. So some may be looking for that real deep dive into the research. Some might want to just experience it as an immersive thing. And other people might want to look behind the scenes and see how it works. There's lots of different ways they can experience it. And one of my favourite parts of the job is being able to watch kind of the unexpected ways that people might experience it that I might not have planned in putting the work together. So one of my favourite things is seeing those visitors come in and connect with the works in different ways and really make that connection with the research and with the art, and watching how different people do that differently. It's really exciting to see.